It is my first day of college. Got the A&M shirt on, some pants. Don't mind the shoes, I'll change them before I leave. I have my hair up because it's really hot on campus. And yeah, I'm hoping maintenance comes today because none of the electronics or like outlets in my room are working efficiently. Like my camera, it was pretty much dead last night and it's not even fully charged even though it's been plugged in all night. Same thing with my phone, same thing with my iPad, just everything is like not charging all the way. And I know it's not all these different cords and plugs because I bought brand new. So if they don't come before I get back, I don't know if they'll come when I'm not here, but if they don't come before I get back, I'm gonna call the front office and get it fixed because I cannot live like this. Anyways, you probably won't hear from Miranda because she has no clue where my camera is, even though I tell her. So this is my first day and I'm super excited. Little nervous. I have 3 classes today, so we'll see how those go and I will update you when I get back. Bye. So I felt like I should give a kind of update on how my week's been going. So yesterday was my first day of classes and it did not really go good for me. First thing in the morning, so I get an email from Walmart telling me my bike lock won't actually be ready in the morning, but it'll be ready Tuesday, which is today. And you know, I need a bike lock for my scooter to get around classes. So I know that Ace Hardware has some normal bike locks because everywhere else was sold out when we checked on Sunday. So I go over to Ace Hardware. Well, as I'm going over to Ace Hardware, there's construction, so it's a 2-lane road, right? There's construction in the right lane. And it's like a pothole construction, so it's just got like the little barricades around it, but nobody was out there working on it. Well, it was really close to the stop sign. So I didn't see the stop sign because orange and red in like bright light look really similar to me. So what happened? I blew the stop sign. Well, I've never done that before in my life. So I freaked out over that. And obviously that stop sign was there for a reason, and it's not just because there was a neighborhood, but the second after I crossed the other stop sign, mind you, I was doing 40 and a 40. I hit like a giant pothole or bump or something. I don't know. But it freaked me out, and I heard like a loud bump, drag, I don't know what I'd call it, but you know, my car shook aggressively and I got really scared, so I pulled off to the side into the next like neighborhood turnoff, and I looked at the back of my car, everything was okay. I looked at the front of my car, everything was okay. Took a sigh of relief and then got back in my car and started heading to Ace Hardware again. So I'm driving and I'm hearing this like dragging sound on and off, and for like long story short, my air duct that goes under the front of your car to protect that part, I had already torn that off at some point. My car is also 11 years old, just to clarify. So I'm getting really worried because I don't know what else could be dragging, and I'm scared that it's like a vent or some like wires or whatever. So I get to the Ace Hardware and I look under the back of my car, see nothing. Under the side, see something. Look under the front, and my engine cover is like 90% torn off. So I call my dad in a panic and I FaceTime him and I show him, and he's like, "You're at an Ace Hardware, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I needed a bike lock." He was like, "Okay, well, go inside and see if somebody can help you," right? So I go inside and I think it was probably the GM was at the front, and he was like, "Hey, can we help you?" And I'm nearly in tears at this point, and so that question just broke me. And I was like, "Yeah, I need a bike lock and probably some help." And he was like, "What happened?" And I was like, "I tore the engine cover, the under part of my car off, and I can't pull it off the rest of the way because I'm scared I'm going to rip something." And he's like, "Okay, what car is yours?" I tell him my car. And he's like, "Go get your bike lock. I'll take a look at it." So he goes out there. He tries to pull it off. He can't get it because like where it's still stuck, like screwed in, is in the underbelly of the car. So it was really hard to get to. So he calls one of the younger guys. He comes out with a box cutter and cuts it off. I thank them both. I give them a little bit of gratitude, and then I get back into my car and I head for campus. Well, A&M is a really busy campus, and lot 100, there's like at least 10 parking lots, so you would think there'd be a bunch of parking spaces, but that first day, there was like nowhere to park. I spent at least 30 minutes driving up and down the aisles over and over again looking for a parking spot. Finally found one, thanked God, got out, put my scooter up, took me forever to find my first building because, like, the campus is huge and it's my first time really on that campus. So it was not a great experience. Eventually found it, got super sweaty. I had left my bike lock, like, instructions in the car, and somebody had mixed up the code. And, so I carried my scooter all the way up into my 4th floor building on the elevator. And I sat down, and I had, like, 2 hours before my class started. And so I was fumbling around with the lock or whatever. I finally figured out how to reset it and everything. Got it to be my passcode. Left the people I was sitting with, the strangers. Went back downstairs. Put my bike lock back outside, locked up my scooter, and went back upstairs and took my seat back. Well, first class goes okay, and then at this point, I have to go to my Spanish class. I've never taken Spanish before. I'm an ASL student, except they don't offer ASL at A&M. It's not right, but that's a discussion for another day. So I get into my car, I got on my scooter and I drive around for like the next 10 minutes trying to find a building that was 0.2 miles away from me. Finally found it, parked my scooter, went up, took a seat. Everything was fine until the Spanish class started. Oh my god. He's like a really nice prof, and that's why I don't want to drop the class. But I'm not good at languages I've never learned. And so, he's automatically already speaking Spanish, and, like, everybody else apparently has 2 years of Spanish experience from high school. But, it was just, like, super stressful, and I didn't understand, like, half of what he was talking about. So I was like, okay, well, hopefully it'll get better. I go to my, like, American History Literature class, which is just another English class. He explains everything. I'm, like, kind of zoning in half and out because he's saying a lot of words I don't understand, and I'm already, like, exhausted from the day. So I just make it through that class. I find out that there's one assignment we need to do before Wednesday, so I do it that night. It was actually kind of a fun assignment, I won't lie. Get back on my scooter and spend at least another... Well, I got back to the lot 100s, except I don't remember where I parked, and my, like, Apple Maps wasn't telling me where my car was. Like, it told me it was in this general area, except it wouldn't tell me if I was facing north, east, south, or west. And so I spent probably at least 30 minutes with something that should have taken me 12 minutes, which is not great. So I come home, back to the apartment, just absolutely defeated. Our electrics in my room still isn't working, so I'm having to charge everything in the kitchen, which sucks. But, it is what it is. They won't fix it until they fix all the mandatory by law stuff for other people's complexes. And, yeah. So that was day 1, right? And I just come home pretty much exhausted, defeated. I do my homework because, I don't want to fall behind. I actually want to get ahead, which I kind of am, besides Spanish, because I don't understand it. So day 2, today, starts. Get my scooter loaded up. I find a parking spot relatively easy because there's a certain lot that's not as busy as the others, and I'm not revealing that secret because I need a parking space. So I park there. I get out my scooter, and I actually find my first class pretty easily today because it was the same building, so I managed to, like, figure out how to get there faster, which worked out really well for me. I get through that class, comes around the Spanish class again because I had that class all 4 days. I have it Monday through Thursday, and he starts, going on and off about, like, past tense and present tense, and, like, he's not teaching vocabulary, right? Like, he doesn't want to do it like that, which is fine. I understand, he's the professor, but it's really confusing for somebody who doesn't know vocab and you're speaking in a language that she doesn't know. So at this point, he keeps going through and he's talking about, like, uno personas or tres personas or whatever, and he's talking about, first, second, and third perspective, but I didn't understand he was talking about first, second, and third perspective, so I'm kind of, like, in tears at this point because we're doing an activity and everybody else is, like, writing it down super fast and I didn't know what we were doing. So I go up to him after class and I'm like, hey, I've already thinking maybe I need to drop this class, even though I really want to learn Spanish. I can't have this tanking my GPA because I'm on scholarship, right? So I go up to him and I'm like, I need to at least have one office hour with him to see if this helps, because if it doesn't, I just need to drop the course. So I go up to him and I'm like, hey, at some point this week before Friday, I need to schedule office hours with you. And he said, can you do it right now? And I was like, yeah, I don't have any other classes today. And he's like, okay. So we pull up to desk and he sits beside me and he explains like the personas thing, the perspective thing that I was really not getting. I didn't get some of the other stuff, but that was mainly what was confusing me, and that was what the activity was over, so I wanted to understand that the most. And so he sits down and I kind of figure it out. I need to look at my notes just to make sure it's solidified in my brain. But I'm like, okay, thank you very much. 30 minutes later, I leave. I've had one hectic 2 days, or 2 hectic 2 days, whatever. I get on my scooter and I'm like, oh, I think I'll just go home. But there was something going on campus today, so I was just going to ride around my scooter for a bit. So I start heading for my car, and I pass the MSC and like that crosswalk at Kyle Field, and then I go down by the West Campus garage, and I'm like, actually, no, let me just head back to the Evans Library and I'll study. So I turn around and I go back up under the thing of the West Campus garage, and I go back to Kyle Field, and this is really embarrassing and hard to explain, but there's like one little ramp right here and then another ramp right here, and then there's like a concrete bump right here, like no ramp. I don't know why it splits it. This is important though. And then the MSC is like diagonally across from that bump, and Kyle Field's behind that little cross area. And so I see another scooter coming up on the left, so I veer right because, I don't want to crash into another scooter. I shouldn't have veered right. My brain was just so distracted by the other scooter going left. We could have shared that area. But, I was doing like probably 16 miles per hour on a little scooter because there was no one really out there. So I was like, I can drive a little bit faster. Well, I'm about, probably 50 feet from that drop when I notice it. And so I try braking really hard and that doesn't work. So I go off the bump and stumble into the roadway, the drive. And, I take a couple of steps and I lose balance and I slip. And, fortunately no skids on my hands, but, yeah. This is a little bit of a gore warning for people. And then it's like all the way down here too. So yeah, I took out my knee today, and that's the knee that's like already bad. So I have an ice compression I need to put back on it before it melts, but yeah, I hurt myself pretty badly, and I like hobbled over to the nurse's area, the clinic, and I'm like, hey, I need a bandage. I got a little scratch. And they were like, a scratch? And I was like, I kind of just ate concrete outside. And she sees my knee, and like, it was mostly dirt covering like all the swollen areas, and it hadn't swollen up and bruised yet. It was fresh. She was like, ooh, well, we have a first aid kit, so go clean it with soap and water, and here's a Band-Aid. So useless. And so I do that, and I text my family and my roommate, and they were like, oh, that's not good. And so I managed to make it home. I carry my scooter all the way up to the 3rd floor while hobbling on my knee, and I come in here, and then I just kind of rest for a couple minutes, and we didn't end up doing the thing that was on campus today because I couldn't. I was so defeated, and I still kind of am, and my knee hurts really badly. I'm gonna put Neosporin on it again and some more ice, but I'm definitely wearing pants tomorrow. And what's frustrating is I almost wore pants today, but I saw people wearing shorts yesterday, so I was like, oh, I'll wear shorts because it's hot outside. I should have just worn pants. It might have saved me a scar. But yeah, it hurts pretty bad, and my knee's about the size of like, a golf ball. I have 2 kneecaps. But yeah, it's pretty much been my days at A&M, so hopefully it'll get better. Bye.